Hey there folks, welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art and culture, and this is Billboard Breakdown. So this was a pretty simple week on the Billboard Hot 100, in that there were movements and changes that you could pretty easily predict. And yet it was almost a deceptive week on the charts, where it might seem like a lot happened. We even got a new song debuting in the top 10, and trust me, we'll get to it. But it's not exactly disruptive or all that interesting to the status quo. If anything, its success is all the more predictable. But you know what, before we get to that, let's talk about our top 10. Unsurprisingly, Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson easily holds steady at number 1 thanks to absolutely dominating sales, streaming, and still gaining on airplay. And as I predicted, consistently steady gains from Ed Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud across the board were enough to propel it up to the number 2 slot. That was enough to push down Blank Space by Taylor Swift to number 3, which might be dominant in airplay, but having peaked there and was slowly declining sales, it might be starting to recede a little bit. What's not receding is Take Me to Church by Hozier, which had a pretty steady week across the board and still hasn't peaked in airplay, which is enough to get it to number 4. Now the first big surprise on the charts this week was the sudden jump from Shake It Off by Taylor Swift, which leaped up to number 5 almost entirely thanks to streaming and YouTube, having already peaked in airplay and slowing in sales. Now its sudden success was enough to keep Lips Are Moving by Meghan Trainor stalled at number 6 despite a pretty solid week, and to push I'm Not the Only One by Sam Smith back down to number 7, despite still not having peaked in airplay yet. But now we've got our top 10 debut, Sugar by Maroon 5 coming in at number 8. And really, the fact that it debuted so high really isn't that much of a surprise. The sales were strong, and while it'll probably need some streaming to maintain its position, or at least stronger streaming, the radio has always been very receptive to Maroon 5, and it's already gaining in airplay. Beneath it are 2 songs that aren't surprising. Jealous by Nick Jonas holds steady at number 9 despite a pretty good week all around, and All About That Bass by Meghan Trainor barely clings on to number 10, even despite steadily decreasing airplay across the board. Now next up we've got our dropouts and our losers, and honestly I can't really complain much here. Stole a Dance by Milky Chance finally drops out, good riddance, followed by I'd Rather Be by Clean Bandit featuring Jess Glynn, and Somewhere in My Car by Keith Urban. Neither song being all that bad, but they're both distinctly of 2014, and I've got no problem with either of them dropping away. They had their time. Hell, most of our losers fall into the same category. Steal My Girl by One Direction dropping to 82, Beg For It by Iggy Azalea featuring Mew dropping to number 57, LA Love by Fergie continuing its well-deserved drop to 66. These are tracks losing steam half because they're of last year and half because they're also not all that good. Our other losers aren't far removed from that either. Elastic Heart by Sia drops number to 29 because the video's controversy is starting to fade in the public eye. Only One by Kanye West and Paul McCartney drops down to 85 thanks to, well, a lack of a video and it being more of a deep-cut curiosity than a lead-off single. And AO by Chris Brown and Tyga drops down to number 72 because it's outright crap. Honestly, it's probably dropping more because of the video, but come on, I like to believe the mainstream public has some vestige of taste and they're just rejecting this outright. Hell, if you take a look at some of the songs rising on the charts right now, you might start to buy into that the mainstream has some good taste. I mean, sure, Dear Future Husband by Meghan Trainor went up to 84, but that's likely due to Meghan Trainor releasing her album and actually selling pretty damn well, which allowed the song to stabilize a little bit on the charts. And then there's Earned It by The Weeknd going up to 70, but that's because they finally dropped a video and the morbid curiosity surrounding the inevitable train wreck that will be 50 Shades of Grey is enough to attract some attention, I'll give them that. Then there's GDFR by Flo Rida featuring Sage the Gemini and Lucas. Okay, I've got no idea why this is going anywhere considering how blatantly it is a ripoff of Talk Dirty, but I'm guessing it's only charting because it's vaguely danceable, I guess. But the rest of the songs, Time of Our Life by Pitbull and Neo and Outside by Calvin Harris and Ellie Goulding continuing their rise to 24 and 58 respectively, Style by Taylor Swift rocketing up to number 52, and most surprisingly and most happily of all, Hoodie Allen and Ed Sheeran's All About It going up to number 78. These are all good to great songs, and I really can't complain about some of them getting some major traction, so that's all good. Now, of course, we need to look at some of our new tracks coming onto the charts, so let's start with our one returning entry. And I already talked about it 2 weeks ago. Wasn't much to say about G-Eazy then, and this song makes even less of an impression now. Sorry. Next. And now, our new entries, starting with number 98, The Body by Wale featuring Jeremih.
disrespect by it.
I'm just trying to drive it once again. Baby,
I just wanna be provided with the flyers.
like a Benz. I'm just trying to drive it once again.
So Wale's got another single about sex and girls, this time the lead-off single from an album called, and I swear this is true, The Album About Nothing. Well, good a hint and cut to the chase, but how's the actual song? Well, okay, did you ever want to hear Wale and Jeremih make a bunch of hit or miss double entendres about sex when trying to pick up a girl, specifically relating to cars? See, the frustrating thing is that it's not a bad idea. Wale's still kind of corny, but more of his lines connect than miss, and those that don't, they're pretty damn hilarious, and the production's not bad. But you know what? Wale, from a technical standpoint, he's just not that good of a rapper. There's too many flubbed or forced rhymes for me to really appreciate the song and get into it. And all I do is really remind me is that Big Crit did this sort of song so much better on Cadillactica last year. Next, number 96, Say You Do by Dierks Bentley.
Say you might for tonight to have a heart, been the truth, even if you don't, couldn't you?
Really, Dierks? This is the next single off of Riser and not Here on Earth or Damn These Dreams? I may have really liked Riser when I reviewed it, but Say You Do wasn't one of the reasons why. And on the surface, the song looks okay. Dierks Bentley's got a fair bit of charisma, the melody and production, they're pleasant enough, but it's the lyrics of the song that really do bug me, because the premise is basically pleading with an ex-girlfriend for a hookup, and to lie and buy into it even if the feelings aren't there on her part. And the thing is, this could have worked somewhat if the tone was played right, but with a little bit more darkness and desperation. But as it is, the song is so placid and inert, and Dierks Bentley's performance is so underwhelming that the framing seems to romanticize the sentiment rather than reveal it as kinda creepy and manipulative and kinda gross. From a compositional standpoint, the song is not bad, but in comparison with other singles and songs on that album that Dierks Bentley could have released, man alive, he definitely could have done better. Number 92, Glory by Common and John Legend.
Yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us.
So, okay, the reason this song is charting at all is because it recently got nominated for Best Original Song for the movie Selma by the Academy Awards. One of the few nominations the film got because they bungled the screener rollout. In any case, it's really a two-horse race between Glory and Everything is Awesome by Tegan and Sara featuring The Lonely Island from the Lego Movie. Another film that got snubbed really hard by the Academy this year. They really blew it this year, by the way. And as much as I'd love to see Tegan and Sara and Andy Samberg holding Oscars, I'm sorry, Glory's got this in the bag. Selma is already a great film and takes a much more nuanced look at the life of Martin Luther King than you normally get, and combined with a song that takes the cultured ease, the gospel swell and the piano and the strings, and Common dropping verses that aren't his best, to be fair, but still pack a considerable punch and give him a much needed opportunity to get political. Overall, that's pretty damn good. The Academy would like it. The song is still nowhere near either artist's best, and I do wish that Common had gone a little bit harder and sharper, but if he had done so, the song probably wouldn't be nominated for any Academy Awards. As it is, it's got the anthemic quality the Academy likes. It still is a good song, but not quite a great one, at least for me. Number 73, Uma Thurman by Fall Out Boy.
She wants to dance like Uma Thurman, bury me till I confess. She wants to dance like Uma Thurman, and I can't get you out of my head.
Okay, no. If you want a song inspired by a film that's actually all kinds of awesome, you should check this song out. I've already talked about Uma Thurman when I reviewed Fall Out Boy's album not too long ago, and this was easily the best song on it. Not to mention one of Fall Out Boy's best singles in a long time. The jittery piano line, the Munster sample, the sweet grooves that recall Pulp Fiction era Tarantino. It's almost enough to completely ignore the fact that the song is basically coasting by on the raw ego of the narrator and his girl as they dance, even if said dance might turn out to be lethal. Now, it's not one of Fall Out Boy's more substantial songs by a mile, but you know what? When it's this fun and when the grooves are this good, doesn't matter for me. I'll take it. Number 48, Homegrown by the Zac Brown Band.
Feels like home. I got everything I need and nothing that I don't. Homegrown. Homegrown.
Oh man, it's been a while since we had new stuff from the Zac Brown Band, but I'm sure as hell glad to see them back on the charts. One of my favorite country groups of the past decade thanks to killer harmonies, a knack for real melody, and a penchant for great songwriting and real experimentation, Homegrown is the lead-off single for their upcoming album. So how is it? Well, it's pretty good, if a little bit basic. Nowhere near their best work. The production feels a little bit compressed, the songwriting doesn't do much beyond standard small town love, and that change up in the final third of the song doesn't quite stick the landing for me, and it definitely suffers in comparison to a song like Chicken Fried. But you know what? For the lead-off singles from the Zac Brown Band, they're rarely the best from the album, so I still got high hopes for these guys. And at the end of the day, Homegrown still has enough organ and good harmonies to win me over. It's honestly still a pretty damn good song by sticking to the basics. So you know what? I'll take it. Number 37, Heartbeat Song by Kelly Clarkson. Man, I remember when I used to be excited for a new Kelly Clarkson song, and then I sit back and remember that was over 6 years ago. And to be fair, so Kelly Clarkson rarely releases bad songs, and the worst I could say from this new single is that it's probably gonna be bland. And surprise, surprise, it is. Kelly Clarkson still sounds good in the mic, but maybe it's for the more electronic vocal production, but she just sounds kind of checked out on this song. And with the thin, percussion-heavy instrumentation and rather interchangeable lyrics, I can't help but feel like I'm listening to her version of Fifth Harmony's Sledgehammer. And you know what, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually think I might like Sledgehammer even more. Heartbeat Song, I'm sorry, it's just forgettable. And well, I shouldn't be disappointed here. I mean, Since You've Been Gone was over a decade ago. I shouldn't expect more from Kelly Clarkson, but you know what, I kinda do. She's better than this. I just hope she remembers that for her next album. Number 8, finally, Sugar by Maroon 5.
Oh my gosh.
Look, it's a new song from that Adam Levine solo project masquerading as a pop rock group. Okay, that's unfair, but to say I didn't like 5 is probably understating it. But you know what, to give Maroon 5 the slightest shred of credit, Sugar wasn't one of the reasons why I didn't like that album. Mostly because this song evokes so little of a reaction from me. Adam Levine's vocals are completely emotionally inert, the guitar lick is a disco reject that has no soul or energy and barely any tempo, and the lyrics are only distinctive when they rhyme words or phrases with themselves or just show off their own incompetence. The song Sugar reminds me most from Maroon 5 is Won't Go Home Without You. But that song at least had a good guitar melody and some desperate energy behind it and some good lyrical sentiment. You could at least buy that Adam Levine cared on that track. With Sugar, he doesn't. And look, it's a third single from a barely mediocre album that's only on the radio because it's completely inoffensive and it fills time. That's why the radio likes Maroon 5, but otherwise, skip it. So you know what, that was our week, and honestly for the most part, it was above average, so much so that there isn't really a song that I'd consider outright crap that came out this week. If pushed, it'd probably be a toss-up for the worst of the week between I Mean It by G-Eazy featuring Remo and Sugar by Maroon 5, but neither of them are as bad as some of the truly atrocious songs that I've covered on this show. As for the best, Thurman easily walks away with it as one of my favorite songs of the year thus far, bar none. But you know what, Homegrown by the Zac Brown Band, not far behind there. Overall, things seem to be getting better on the pop charts. We could use some good pop music, and it's nice to see the charts finally deliver. Let's hope for more next week, but until then, I'm Mark, you're watching Billboard Breakdown on Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.